I'm not sure how I missed this because this was like 4 days ago, and this is right up my alley for stuff that I do here on the channel, guys. Welcome back. So, Techland has really, really crazy ideas for Dying Light 2's version of the following. This is really cool, and there's definitely some really interesting things that the lead designer, Timon, discusses about the reception of the following and how it may impact future DLC. So we're going to get into that. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. I do want to say that when it comes to the following for Dying Light 1, that DLC they did is definitely one of my favorite DLCs of all time. It is almost like a second version of Dying Light. The DLC was like a separate game. It was really, really well received because Techland did an amazing job with the following DLC. The story was whatever, but it was all about the open fields, the open world, a whole new area to explore. Yes, they gave us these amazing Doom buggies that we could customize, and obviously new guns, weapons, and stuff like that. You could run over all these freaking zombies and play with your friends. It was really, really good. I actually almost enjoyed the following as much as the base game, Dying Light 1. Now, when it comes to Dying Light 2, guys, there is a reason why it has mixed reviews. It's not only just the bugs and the glitches and the story block progression issues. It's also just the way the game is designed for endgame players. We've talked a lot about that. The nerfs things that they did recently with the Karik charm and taking away the crates in the sunken city so you can farm endgame loot. There's some stuff that Techland definitely has to work on. But the good thing is Dying Light 2 is going to receive 5 years of post-launch support, including DLCs, content drops, challenges, and a lot more. Now, this is what the lead designer of Techland said, Timon Skmedelela. I don't even know how to say the last name, so I'm not even going to try it, but Timon, all right? Of course, only so much can be said at the early stage of Dying Light 2 roadmap, but it sounds like the fan feedback is going to play a major role. He acknowledged fan requests for New Game Plus, which we definitely need, photo mode, and more for Dying Light 2, but also mentioned how Techland has its own ideas as well. Specifically, also addressed how story DLCs are going to vary in size, and the first story DLC, for example, is going to be on the smaller end because of how big the base game is, but there'll also be bigger DLCs down the road. So that's the biggest takeaway I got from this thing, is that the first story DLC, which is supposed to come up in June, is actually going to be on the smaller end. It's not going to be a huge DLC. So I don't think we're going to get this like following type of DLC in the first one for June. I think that's going to be later on. Like he's saying here, bigger ones are going to be down the road. That's my best guess. What do you guys think the first story DLC will be like? It's going to be a little bit smaller. There's a lot of ideas that are floating in my head. I don't know if I could spit them all out now, but hopefully it's good. I mean, we need some new content already. Amazingly, like the game just came out February 4th, and like a month or a little over a month later, there's a lot of people that already beat the game and they're just waiting for new content. Indeed, he also mentioned how Dying Light 2 intends to experiment with content drops to see what fans like and don't like in terms of tonality and more. So that's real interesting too. So they plan to kind of experiment on us like we're the guinea pigs with these different kind of content drops to see what we like and what we don't like. But I will say, technically, we don't like some of the nerfs you did with the grappling hook, the Karik charm, taking away kind of the end game loot in the sunken city. Even though you can do the encounters, it's a lot harder to do, and some of it's bugged out for people. So keep experimenting, but you got to listen to the negative feedback and the things that people want to help improve the game. They went on to say that gameplay is going to play a key part in the future Dying Light 2 content, and it's also nice to know that Techland doesn't seem adverse to taking risks with it. Now, this was kind of the main theme behind this interview, was that taking risk in what they did with the following. The following introduced a traversal mechanic, which was going completely against what we built with the first game. The first game is about you moving in a dense urban environment with your own body, with your own parkour, agility, and mobility. And then we did our DLC, which added a vehicle to the game, and there are huge open empty areas for you to drive on, so it was going in a completely different direction than the first game. That's what they're talking about, is that it was a big risk for them to add the vehicle into it. So what could they be talking about for this future update? They went on to acknowledge how Techland did take this risk, and it proved to be very well worth it. We also learned a lot about not being afraid of something, sometimes going against the grain. We were discussing something similar for Dying Light 2 Stay Human, and again, I cannot go into many specifics, but the ideas that we have for it, like Dying Light 2 version of the following, are really crazy. So now we're just going full circle to the beginning of the video. That's their ideas, or they're saying their ideas are very crazy, really crazy. So what could that be, guys? I go back to the base building. Remember Techland talking about adding some kind of base building post-launch. I think this would be considered a crazy idea for Dying Light 2 any base building because it just seems out of place for Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2. So we could see that. I don't know, maybe they're talking about a freaking helicopter, a snowmobile, an airplane that you could drive. If they thought adding one vehicle to their DLC was kind of going against the grain and was taking a big risk, I mean, what the heck could they be talking about for the big DLCs or the DLCs that they're thinking about and working on now? So it's really interesting stuff, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this news article and the way I broke it down for you. If you could definitely drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I am very intrigued to see what they might do come June for their first DLC, even though they said it's on the smaller side of things. Doesn't mean it's not going to be good, and we really need some changes for Dying Light 2 now and leading up to June, and definitely can't wait to get the DLC and some more content, and we'll see what happens with Techland. I mean, they got to keep it up, keep working at the game. I do like Dying Light. I love Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2, but right now, for me personally, I've already beat the game twice, and I'm kind of at that end game where there's not much to do. There's other games we can play and certain other ones that I'm looking forward to, but I'll keep you guys up to date with everything when it comes to Techland and Dying Light 2. So I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Let me know what you think of this whole thing. Leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.